This is a video about trying to solve the problem about the filament not coming through the nozzle. Let's get this turned on. I'm going to go to Tools, Preheating, I'm going to pick the nozzle heating. I'm going to bump the temperature up from 220 to 232. It's around 230. So we'll do that. And we're starting to heat up a little bit here. 37, 38, 39, 40. So we'll take a break. Okay, so we're up to the temperature of 226, 227. So let's start clearing off the top of the printer. And I'm going to take the side covers off. And my little accessory trays. And we're up to 232. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and hit the filament. And then I'm going to press the down. And there's currently nothing coming out of the head. And I could feel that there's a little kind of vibrating, trying to pull that filament down. It's coming down very, very slowly, and now it's stopped. Okay, so let's stop that. And we'll leave that warmed up so the motor is not running, trying to pull that down. So the first step is we get out our tools. I suggest a little tray here in case some old screws and things are rolling around. And got the 3 Allen wrenches and the hex wrench in case we have to take the nozzle off. First thing we're going to do is take the top screw out of the cover using the medium-sized wrench. Picked up the wrong one. Got that. Top wrench, the screw. Now I'm going to cut the filament about 1 inch or so above the. And the filament does pull free. It's free moving off the spool off the back. Now I have that cover screw removed. We can take the head cover off. Then the first thing I'm going to do after this is I'm going to pull the upper left. And we'll move in a little bit here. And we'll want to take the upper left connector, which runs the fan. That's right in the front there. That'll turn that off. Take the large wrench. And I'm going to come down. And stop there. Take the 2 fans out, 2 screws out of the fan. And I'm not going to pull them all the way through because there's some white nylon spacers behind them. And that one's free. And that one is free. And we're just going to lift that off, and the more. that whole metal plate that holds everything in place. I'm just going to shift it to the side a little bit so that we can get at these two screws in here, 1 and 2, not the middle one. And I'm going to undo that, and that'll take the feed head off. Okay. Now the head is to be removed. Take the little heat sink out, which you don't have to do now. It's not lifting up because the feed mechanism, see it through here. The filament, which is held in place by that, is stuck down into the head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and hit the down feed, which will push the rest of that filament through very easily. See, it slides right up. Just came right off. Now we'll hit stop. And I'm going to unplug the wire off of the top of this head because I'm going to move it over next to me. And sometimes right inside there's some serrations in here, and that's it's called a pinch roller. We have a pinch roller that is spring loaded right here. There it goes. And that's where the filament goes down there, and it's got a plain roller here and a serrated roller. It looks like almost like a gear, and that gives it some grip to feed the filament down. Now, in the past few times, I just checked this last week, and it looks like it's already crudted up a little bit with some filaments in there, because it's trying to force the filament down, but it's not going through the printer. Now, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean this again. And how I'm going to clean it, I'm not going to show it on the video, but basically take these two screws out, and this piece will come off. Then I can lift the spring up, take it off, and take this screw off and that off, so that I have access all the way around that. And I'll take a little pointed tool. Well, you can use almost anything, but I use this, and I'll scrape that down each one of those to get that out of there, and then just use a little stiff brush to make sure it gets all completely out. So I'm going to clean that again before we put it back together. Now, as far as the head goes, I'm going to come back up in here, and I'm going to snip this piece of filament off right where it goes into the head. You got to be careful because the head is hot here for the nozzle. This is all heated. And if worst comes to worst, you could unscrew the nozzle off the bottom using the wrench. But be careful because that'll be hot too. So now while it's all still warmed up, we're still running at 220, well, the temperature dropped down a little bit. Maybe I just tap. It's probably because the fans are off a bit or something there. Okay, but it's still pretty hot, so up to 226 degrees. And I'm going to push this to go down, not that the motor is running anymore, and I'm going to take the fine Allen wrench, and I'm going to come right up in here where the filament goes through the heater head, and I'm going to force that down. It moved down pretty easily there for the first little bit. Now it's giving me some resistance, and I'm pushing it pretty good, and I am getting some black strands coming out of there from the filament. I am using black ABS filament. Doing a couple pushes, I'm turning it around so I could feel that I'm actually metal against metal, which is the counterbore inside the head. So I'm gone down as far as I can go. I can feel that. When I pull this out, though, I do get a little black residue on here. A little bit of the melted filament, and it's hot. Clean that off. I want to push it down a little bit more. Again, a little more turning. Got a little tiny piece of filament came out that time. Now, that's pretty much it. It should be completely clear according to the QIDI instructions that were sent to me. Again, I'm getting some buildup in here. So inside that head, inside the back of the nozzle, or shaft's going down to the nozzle, probably inside the nozzle, is something is clogged up in there. I'm tempted to take some sort of alternative measures, possibly to taking the head off and using a small torch, propane torch, and heating up the head manually while forcing air through it to see if I can put some pressure in there to really clean it out. I've tried using something to scrape on the inside of the back, that counterbore area where it is actually wider before it comes down to the little thin hole for the nozzle. I tried cleaning that out a couple of days ago, 2 days ago, and I thought maybe that worked. But I still couldn't see daylight. I still couldn't see that pinhole, and I don't have anything that is small enough. So still get more residue in there. Now you think that it would be hot enough with all the pressure that's going to be melted anyway. That would be probably the way this thing works. That's going to turn to a very soft plastic before it goes through that pinhole. Well, anyway, we got that part done. Here is taking the two pieces and the spring off, and we can see that there's some mild residue buildup in here, and I'm going to just clean that all out. Look at all the teeth. I did this the other day, so there really shouldn't be anything in here at all. 2 days ago. So over 2 days I'm getting this, which means that it's trying to feed the filament down, but it's not getting through that nozzle. And that nozzle is only a couple of days old. I just used the spare one that came with the printer, and I've got a couple more on order with the heater bed cable. But I would like to get this printer going. I use this printer tremendously. I've got probably made several thousand parts out of it and used it several thousand hours in the past 8 or 9 months that I've had it. It's been a wonderful little printer. Does its job in my model making. It's been helping me so much, and I would highly recommend this printer to anyone. If we can just get this thing going again, I'd be really, really pleased. All right, what I decided to do is put this head back on and take the nozzle off. Well, I'm going to take the nozzle off first, give it a chance to cool down a little bit, because we're still running up here at 232 degrees. So that's C. And for us in the United States, that's still old-fashioned and used Fahrenheit. We're talking about I don't know, maybe 200, maybe 300 degrees or 350. I don't know what the conversion is, but 200 degrees, 100 degrees C is boiling point of water. So we're way, way above that. So that is enough to give you a good burn. There's the nozzle. Looking through it, I can't see any hole. So let's take a look at it and see if we get any residue out of the inside of that. Just taking a quick look at it. Just a quick scrape here. I can't seem to get much, but I do feel a little roughness in there, and I don't think it's from the machining. I can feel where the hole is in the middle. So we'll let this cool down for a little bit. And I'm going to leave it off because we're going to run a test showing that the filament actually does feed through pretty good without the nozzle on. And I'm going to feed in down some of my filament, and I'm going to come down here and hit the down feed. And it's feeding in pretty fast. See, look, it's going straight through. Let's stop it here. Came right through. Let's run it back up. Running up smoothly. A little slower than when it went down. I can feel a little bit of roughness on it because I know it's going through those pinch rollers and it is getting warm. And we'll pull it all the way out. So there's nothing in there. Okay. Now we get back up here. I'm going to cut this up here before so it's nice and clean. And then we'll stop here for a second. Now there's really nothing much I can do about that. We'll just screw that head back in. And being careful, I can feel that heat. Well, the head is already, the nozzle is already starting to warm up as I screwed it into the bottom of that heater. Okay, so we're there. I'm not going to bother putting the cover back on for the purpose of this video, but I'm going to drop the camera down a little bit from the nozzle, and I'm going to feed down through the feed mechanism. I'm going to press the down arrow. It fed down pretty fast, and now it's going really slow, and it's kind of jerking a little bit. And we're seeing a little bit of filament coming out here, but in the past that would be just squirting a straight stream down. And I can feel it's kind of jerking at it. Now it's stopped. It's not moving at all. So there's something that's preventing that from going down to the print head, to the nozzle. Now I'm going to give it some force. I'm going to push it on the filament where it's sticking up out of the top of the feed mechanism, and I got a little bit more to come out, but that's it. It stopped right there. Stopped dead. So let's kill my temperature so it'll start cooling down. Actually, what I want to do is I want to see if I can pull that filament back out. I'll clean it back up. And that's what the end of it looks like as I pulled it out. You can see it started going down through the nozzle a little bit here. It started thinning out, and there's a little white background behind it here, so we might be able to see it better. So it got kind of a bumpy area here, and it looks like the wheel, feed wheel, might have been grinding at it on one side there a little bit, trying to push it down. So somewhere below that, it just can't get through. Now we saw it feed out through that little tube on the bottom there, on the underside of the feed mechanism. So he knows it gets down to where the nozzle is. But getting through that nozzle, that's the problem. And as I said, that's a new nozzle. And this problem was happening before I changed the nozzles. So we got to get that straightened out. So let's cool this off. And put the cover back on and turn everything off, and we'll wait for the reply from QIDI.